Good evening, everyone. It's 7:01. I'm calling this regular meeting of the Village Board to order. This meeting has been given public notice in accordance with Section 19.83 and 19.84 Wisconsin statutes in such form that will apprise the general public and news media of subject matter that is intended for consideration and action. Roll call is showing everyone present. If you can, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and for a moment of silence.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I hope that you all had a wonderful and relaxing weekend. Lots going on in our village, and we have a packed agenda. So I'll get right into what's been going on since my last president's report. In the news you can use section, there are several updates. Police Canine Archie had a birthday celebration this past weekend at the police department. Thanks to all that came out for the brat and fry. It was fun that had by all. I also had the honor of delivering the keynote address at the Germantown Community Scholarship Foundation Senior Award Ceremony, where 124 students were recognized for their achievements. I shared some thoughts on resilience, opportunity, and community, and even attempted, seeing that I'm from Illinois, a little Wisconsin-friendly humor about no longer being a fib and the Chicago Bears still sucking. Let's just say that the students were far more enthusiastic about their scholarships than my jokes. Still, it was a wonderful evening celebrating their hard-earned success. Moving on, summertime is a busy time for Park and Rec staff. In addition to all the summer programs, the Music at the Pavilion Summer Concert Series in the evenings at Fireman's Park begins this Thursday, June 4th, with the Judson Brown Band and the Hot and Dirty Brass Band with music from 6 to 9 p.m. Planning continues for the 4th of July celebration, and the 4th of July committee continues to look for volunteers to help with the event. And if you'd like to assist or to volunteer, please see our social media posts or email us at july4@germantownwisconsin.gov. Village recruitment efforts remain active. The search for both the village engineer and finance director positions continue to move forward. Potential finance director candidates have been identified, and panel interviews will begin soon. There have been additional multi-jurisdictional meetings this week regarding the proposed county-wide EMS program from across Washington County. Several operational and governance details are still being worked on. We will get an update this evening regarding that proposal. Community engagement efforts associated with the Village Center planning initiative continue to move forward. The Village Board will receive a brief update on ongoing engagement activities and public participation efforts after my president's report. Also, to learn more about the Village Center District community engagement and to complete the survey, please visit germantownpublicengagement.com. DPW crews are preparing to begin the village's annual brush pickup program beginning today. The collection process is anticipated to take approximately 3 to 4 weeks and to complete throughout the community. In addition, the annual free curbside bulk item collection program begins Monday, June 8th. The collection efforts will continue until all scheduled items have been collected, and the limit is 2 bulk items per household. The flower source demolition is on schedule for June and should begin the week of the 8th. For all you ATV and UTV operators out there, the new road signs are being installed this week. And once completed, ATV and UTVs will be legal to operate on village roads. Finally, the Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra is coming to Germantown Performing Arts Center on June 20th. The Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra will be performing a selection of American patriotic music, Broadway showstoppers, and classic jazz influenced standards blended with iconic orchestral suites and cinematic symphonic favorites. Get your tickets at gtownpack.vbotickets.com/events. And please know that is a pay what you can event. Moving on to this evening's Village Board, our agenda includes some important matters, among other items, discussion on a possible intergovernmental agreement with Washington County for IT-related services, action on several renewal alcohol licenses, outside premise extensions, and outdoor entertainment permit applications. Action on a contract owner's representation service for the police department building project. And finally, a presentation on the countywide EMS services initiative. Thank you. Moving on to announcements of forthcoming events of public interest, committee and department reports. Kaminsky, Terry Kaminsky.
Public Works will meet in this room this Wednesday at 5:30 PM.
Trustee Cutts.
Public Safety is having a special meeting Monday, June 15th at 6:30 or directly after GGF meeting. And then the regular next meeting is Monday, July 6th at 6 PM. The next General Government and Finance meeting is Monday, June 15th at 5:30 in this room.
Would anybody else like to make any comments on events? Yes, Donna.
And the Board of Review will take place here in the boardroom this Thursday, and that is from 10 a.m. until noon.
Thank you. Now I'd like to turn it over to a report on the Village Center community engagement efforts. Mr. Reynolds.
Thank you, Mr. President. This was provided by Director Retzlaff, who is not here this evening. He gave us an update as of Friday, May 29th. Reported a total of 483 online surveys that have been submitted, another 25 paper copy surveys for a total of 508 completed surveys in the Village Center Engagement Program, and also provided some preliminary findings from the survey. Identified that 43.5% of respondents live in the Village Center District. At least 50% of all respondents believe that the district needs more restaurants and cafes, small retail stores, and performing arts venues and theaters. At least 50% of all respondents believe that the district needs more recreational trails, outdoor game courts, and community parks. Over 90% of all respondents travel to from within the Village Center District using a personal vehicle. Over 50% of all respondents feel that the district needs more multimodal improvements. That is to say, sidewalks, paths, bike lanes, crosswalks, and so on. Most survey respondents are between 35 and 64. Most survey respondents have lived in Germantown for more than 10 years. The most common land uses that respondents would like to see on the Ascension, Flower Source, and Grossnick properties are small-scale retail, commercial, and public gathering spaces for outdoor events. The online interactive comment map has received 1,025 visitors with 115 comments inserted onto the map, mostly about the 7 publicly and privately owned focused properties. At this point, both the community preference survey and interactive comment map will be open until Friday, June 26th. I wanted to mention that this Village Center Engagement Program does not run concurrently with the Holy Hills Engagement Program, which will begin probably sometime during this program or shortly thereafter. And again, I want to emphasize that Director Retzlaff mentioned that these results of this survey were very preliminary. And that's all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you. Trustee Heffley.
There'll be an Economic Development Commission meeting Tuesday, June 9th at 6 PM in the boardroom. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to, thank you, Mr. Reynolds. Moving on to item 6, citizen input. Would anybody likes to come forward tonight and speak? You have 4 minutes. Good evening, welcome.
I'm beginning to think that citizen input doesn't mean a thing to this board. I'm not going to be insulting, but I'll tell you what I heard tonight with, I thought all the little secret meetings were done with when we voted out the past president that had a lot of them and didn't follow proper procedures for putting things in position. Okay. And you're here to manage our money. Okay. I don't care what you looked at me like and you look at me with disgust. I'm telling you the truth. And if 68% of these people voted the past president out, if they came here tonight and said they didn't like what you were doing, I bet you any money you do what you want anyway. And all I'm telling you right now is our current president, in my opinion, and a lot of people, needs to take more responsibility on how this board does business with our money. And I'm getting really fed up with the people coming here and telling you what they want, and we're ignored like we're absolutely nothing. And I'm tired of, I don't know why I waste my time. And even a lot of people said, why even come to a meeting? They don't listen to you anyway. And that's the opinion. I think we need stronger leadership. I look at other boards in other communities and watch what they say. You say yes to almost everything. It's unbelievable. And we're sitting with a progression of taxes that are coming up that in 5 years, you're going to all pay $1,000 more with a police department and all the progressive things that Matt Useldine said were going to happen. I went and sat down with him. It's going to be $200 minimum a year going up. Our utilities are going up again. Okay. And all of you are going to pay for that. And if that's what you want to sit and pay for all this stuff, God bless you, because I'm getting tired of it. I really am. And I'm tired of people that don't listen and don't take things seriously. And every time you come here, there's something else on here that's going to cost us thousands of dollars. And even Matt Uselding said Holy Hill owes us $280,000 for a sewer line. I'd never heard of that before, but that's what he said. And we don't have the money for that yet. Why? Why don't we have it? And just stuff like this, even, it's really disappointing. And I'm sorry, but I'll tell you what, I can't afford what you people want to pay. I don't want to pay $1,000 more a year, okay? I don't want to go into my savings so I can pay for somebody else to go out and have fun on the street and drink and have time. Then the police are all burdened with all the commotion. That's going to cost more money when you have more people like that coming into the area. It happened in Wauwatosa, and that's what's going to happen here. So good luck.
Thank you very much. Would anybody else like to come forward tonight? Good evening and welcome.
I'll be quick. Melanie Smythe, N140W17938 Cedar Lane. Good evening. I just have two items tonight. The one item on the consent agenda, which is the acceptance of improvements. I just want to ask if with the changeover in the finance office, that the new person who's coming in is aware that there's some charges that should be charged to Richfield for acceptance of this water line. I believe that's what was stated at the Public Works meeting. And so I want to make sure they get that bill. And I think it would be good to have a report on, are we up to date with them on whatever else there may be, if there's costs that are owed to this village from that village. And maybe there's none, but we haven't heard about that in a while because there's nothing going on over there. The second thing is that this contracted IT services, it definitely needs more review. It was discussed, and I was incorrect earlier today, it was discussed at GGF, but the first thing that has been discussed is that the police department services go up to the county. I don't understand why this is on this agenda here. The action that was taken, or the discussion that was had at GGF, was that more information would be brought forward and that more review by that committee be done before it came here. So I think it's premature for you to be taking action. Maybe you can discuss it, but I don't know that you had that much more information yet. Do you? No. Okay. So I think you should table that until the committee has done their work and they can bring something forward for you. You know, this is another example of what some of us have been talking about for the last 5 years, that there's not a proper flow of agenda items that go through the committees and eventually, when they are ready to be acted upon, be at the village board level. That's my comment, and unfortunately I can't stay. So thank you.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to come forward and speak? Good evening and welcome.
Wow, what a crowd. Too bad I don't have a good joke to start with. It is amazing. I haven't been to one of these meetings for a long time, and I've lived in Germantown 40 years. That's a long time for a single woman to live in one place. But I've been happy here. And this past year, I had occasion to have to call these wonderful police people over because I was ill. And it happened a couple times, more than once. And also, I dialed the wrong number one time and they came over too. So what I want to do is humbly thank the men who came over to be there for me. And I think we all deserve to give them a good. Yes. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. Would anybody else like to come forward tonight and speak? Good evening and welcome.
Tonight, I'm very, very much concerned about the Lake Park issue with the Blackstone Creek Golf Course Outdoor Entertainment Center that is to be proposed this evening. I'm concerned about the traffic, the noise, the hours, and the fact that it's an annual entertainment center. The fact is that I think the hours would be too much, the traffic, again. I really don't think that it should be voted on. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to come forward tonight and speak? Do we have anyone on WebEx? Okay, moving on to consent agenda item A, May 18, 2026 meeting minutes. And item B, acceptance of improvements, water main extension of Green Bay Packaging at Holy Hill Road. Entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
We have discussion. Trustee Miller.
I would like to pull item B as in boy.
That's fine. Further discussion. Trustee Heffley? No? Okay, we're voting on item A. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? That motion carries. Trustee Miller.
Yes, I'd like to discuss this water main extension for Green Bay Packaging at Holy Hill Road. This came before Public Works and Highways. And if I recall, there was the bill for this extension, water main extension, was $153,783.92. And we discussed the amount. I believe we did pass it, but I want to make sure there was a comment. I asked former village engineer Kevin Driscoll if this item was actually supposed to be, it is in the IGA because it is in TID number 8, and we should be billing our friends in Richfield. So Tim, could you speak to that, please?
Yes, so as you guys all know, Kevin is no longer with the village. And I knew that this had to continue on to the village board. So last week we convened with the village attorney. And yes, in fact, this is billable to the village of Richfield. However, the developer's agreement is with the village of Germantown. So the TID initially will pay the bill and then Richfield will reimburse the TID.
Okay. I've heard that Richfield is going to be reimbursing us, but I would like to have some sort of a follow-up on that to make sure that Richfield actually pays the bill. The bill goes out and it gets paid. I want to know what line item that happens because I think there might be other water, sewer that is involved with the IGA. So I'd like to get that account straightened out because it has to do with water and sewer.
The only pipes that have been put in the ground to satisfy anything in the Richfield IGA is this particular water main.
And there wasn't any in the lot, I think, adjacent to,
No, High Point Pass, the sewers put into High Point Pass serve village development. The sewer line to serve Richfield is coming across Highway, Interstate 41, further north, also on the Green Bay packaging property.
yeah,
and it'll
okay,
Feed that lift station.
okay. So you believe that this is the only,
To date, yes.
okay. Thank you very much.
Trustee Heffley.
Tim, can I ask just clarification in the agreement in the Richfield IGA? I haven't reviewed it in a while. What are the terms for reimbursement? What do they have, like net 30, or when is these reimbursements actually taking action on their side to reimburse us? What is it
the
in a
last-
reasonable part of time?
There's nothing spelled out in the IGA that they're net 30. The last round of billings that went out was during our design phase for the sewer and water extensions, as well as for the right-of-way acquisitions. And those bills, we sent them to Richfield and they were paid, as far as I know, promptly.
Okay.
There are no outstanding bills at this time.
There's an expectation we'll see prompt, repayment on whatever we put forward. Okay, thank you.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Roll call. Yes, thank you. Trustee Peter.
Oh, you guys switched it up on me, Heffley and Trustee Stout. Just when I got it memorized. All
I
right.
told them they should go back to their seats.
Brian's fault. I'll
Brian.
talk to Brian after the meeting. Yep. Okay. So Trustee Warren,
Aye.
Trustee Ketz,
Aye.
Trustee Stout,
Aye.
Trustee Miller,
Aye.
Trustee Kaiser,
Aye.
Trustee Peeper. No. Trustee Heffley,
Aye.
Trustee Kaminsky, President Sutterberg.
She carries. Thank you, Tim. Moving on to new business, item A, intergovernmental agreement with Washington County for contracted IT services, discussion and action. Mr. Reynolds.
May I make a motion to move new business item A to the end of the agenda behind item K? I believe there are a lot of people here waiting for approval on other items.
We have a second.
I'll second that. I'll second that.
We have discussion.
The reason I was at the beginning of the agenda because the people from Washington County need to leave and be at another place by 9 o'clock. So that's why they're put at the top of the agenda.
May we put it behind item G? Those are all going to go very fast. They just went through public safety. It's all the permits.
That's fine.
Further discussion. See none? All those,
Wait, we would need to amend the motion that I made to not put it after K and put it after G. So I make amendment to the motion?
do we have a motion? Do we have a second to the amended motion?
I'll second the amended motion.
We have discussion on the amended motion. Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Going back to the original motion that's been amended. We have further discussion on the original motion that's been amended. Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
That motion carries. We are now on to item B, 2026 junk dealer establishment renewal application, waste management.
Make a motion to approve as presented.
Second.
We have discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Item C, producer full service retail sales application, Old Germantown LLC for Hops and Hounds event on July 10, 2026 at Homestead Hollow County Park. Entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve as presented.
Second.
We have discussion. Say none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Item D, application for appointment of successor agent, Aldi, number 67N96W18838 County Line Road. Agent for consideration, Teresa Reiger.
Motion to approve as presented.
I'll second.
We have discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Item E, 2026, 2027 alcohol beverage license renewal applications. Entertain a motion.
Motion to approve as presented.
Second.
Discussion. No discussion. All those in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Item F, 2026, 2027 outside premise extension renewal applications. Entertain a motion.
Motion to approve as presented.
Second.
So as you mentioned earlier, this did go before public safety, and I did speak a little bit on it. However, the item as it relates to extended premise, there is in one business, we talked about that this is for renewals and everything was status quo. However, Bixenberg is requesting to amend theirs. So when you look at your public safety agenda and you look at your public safety packet, along with the village board, it's an amendment to what they previously had. So the request by staff for the motion is going to be contingency. So let me pull that up for you now. So again, this is for Bixenberg Tavern. They want to amend their current outside premise extension. And by current, what they currently have is the patio, which is 8 feet by 25 feet, and a south deck, which is 25 feet by 15 feet. What Bixenberg's new application has requested the board is to have consideration to add the deck stair access point and an adjacent 80 feet by 40 feet grass area. The applicant was here at the public safety meeting and talked about how he does not have outdoor music proposed for this, that he has 2 events that are going to be occurring this summer. I did speak with the applicant and advised that this will be contingent upon the issuance of a zoning permit and obtain all inspections required by the village for the project. So that are the contingencies that and staff's recommendation as it relates to just this new amended one.
Thank you. Further discussion on item F. Trustee Miller.
I have a question on the Tiny Teas. I can't remember if this is the one that actually said the outdoor music or the extension is from 3 p.m. to close. It doesn't give a time, and I'm concerned about that. Because I thought we had
That was brought up during the public safety meeting, and I was assured that it was generally assumed to be during closed. That's
Yeah.
what was meant. So that's how it was described to me when I brought up that very question. So it should be normal business hour.
Well, it wasn't, it just said to close. That scares me. Isn't there, don't we have an ordinance that says 10 p.m. or not?
Brian.
So the standard ordinance for just noise is 10 p.m. If they have a permit from the village to go longer, for example, we have, I think the next item on the agenda is the outdoor permits for noise, the annual and then the event-based ones. Those let you go longer as part of that, but otherwise, outdoor music typically is cut off at 10 o'clock by the ordinance, unless there's permission otherwise.
Can you verify that, Donna? If it's in there like last year's, did it give a time last year?
Yeah, and the applications were included in your packet. So I'm going through all of the applications. As you know, the packet's very large. So, but with the outdoor entertainment permit, as Attorney Sadak just mentioned, that allows them to go past the Washington County noise ordinance, which would otherwise be 10 o'clock p.m. So it will take me a few minutes to go through this and we can come back to that.
Sure. Thank you.
Further discussion. Well, we're not going to pull this from the max is, we have to wait for Donna to do her research on this, so.
Right.
Can we approve? Pull this one out and just approve and just, no, we didn't.
Everything else, but this one.
No, we're still in discussion. We have a motion and a second. Trustee Peeper.
This was stated during the previous meeting that happened right before here during public safety, that they are only operating during their current hours, that it would be shut down by 10. And they're not, correct me if I'm wrong, Donna, but they're not proposing to put a band outside of Tiny Teas or anything like that.
I want to review the application with all due
Okay.
respect, Trustee
I'll,
Keeper.
nope, I'll help you. I'll look it up with you right now. I'll help you.
We have so many, it's hard to remember each business specifically as to which each person is requesting.
As I remember, they were wanting to put Bluetooth speakers out and play bags is how they worded it on the application.
Says backyard green space, Donna.
Okay, I just got it pulled up.
Yeah,
Just
it
hold
says
on.
amplified recorded music in backyard during normal hours of operation, Tuesday through Saturday, 3 p.m. to close, Sundays for Packer games, occasional private parties, 4th of July for the parade.
I would agree, Trustee Peeper. Thank you.
Okay, further
So-
questions?
so
Trustee Miller.
What, so what does close mean? What time is that? Is it 10 PM? Do they close at 10? That's my question.
10 p.m. is the code for the village of when noise needs to typically stop. So it would be by 10 no matter what, even if they put in to close, they still need to obey the ordinances for the village.
Not when they have the outdoor entertainment permit.
Right.
So that outdoor entertainment permit, just as what Brian, what Attorney Sadak was saying earlier, if a individual restaurant bar applies for the outdoor entertainment permit, it allows them to go beyond past the 10 o'clock PM. They do pay the fee, pay the application. It is going through the process with the police department and other departments to see if there are any concerns regarding approval. If all departments approve it and then becomes before public safety and the village board for the approval process, it can go beyond 10 o'clock PM.
Okay, we are on item F now, so. Trustee Peeper.
So it says, sorry, I found another document too. It just says cornhole bag outside leagues in backyard sitting on occasion. 4th of July celebration outside, Sunday private parties on occasion, Sunday Packer parties. That's what it says on their actual application for Tiny Teas.
And again, we're on item F. It has nothing to do with outdoor entertainment, so.
It does.
Further discussion.
No, the outdoor, the IF is the outdoor premises. That's the ability to sell and consume alcohol in a location that's outside of the four walls of or the confines of the premises. The G would be the noise one, which is specifically the request to have music.
Oh, the next one, the entertainment.
Further discussion on item F. Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Item G, 2026, 2027 outdoor entertainment permit applications for annual events.
Motion
And
to approve as presented.
do we have a second? Do we have discussion? Trustee Miller, did your questions, were they answered?
They were answered and I don't agree with it.
Thank you. Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries.
Aye.
I'm sorry,
Opposed.
you opposed? Okay, two opposed?
No,
Okay.
I have a question
I'll
before we
oppose as
move on.
well.
Okay, two opposed. Trustee Cutts.
I just have a question because previously Donna mentioned the Bixenberg premise extension application that was on public safety item F, but it is not on the village board. Is that an issue?
So yes, trustee Cuts, it was listed under as renewals. The amended version was on public safety. I would agree with you that my deputy put that under as an amended. And I certainly can bring this back. I think that it's going to cause a delay in their event. They're not having that outdoor music. They're doing the two events, which I believe he said was a dog.
Right, and cornhole. I understand that. I just want to make
Yeah.
sure this isn't a problem for them because it's not actually on this agenda. That's
Yeah,
why I'm
and
asking.
it's not necessarily a renewal because it's not status quo. It is a renewal with an amendment it's an application for an amendment. So I would find that it's a new application, not a renewal.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we're moving on to item A. Intergovernmental agreement with Washington County for contracted IT services. Discussion and action. Administrator Reynolds.
So this item is at GGF at the last meeting, and that committee made a motion to approve police department IT services and then look at Village Hall IT services at a later date, and that passed 4-0. There are individuals from Washington County to answer questions about the proposed shared services, and Chief Merton can introduce them and lead off the discussion.
Trustee Paper.
Yeah, I know trustee Cuts had written down word for word what was said. Would you mind saying that, trustee Cuts?
Yeah, I did go back and watch the last GGF meeting after, and the motion was to move this forward for police department only with village aspect continuing conversations internally.
Correct. And I think you're going to learn more about why option B is there. And maybe we should have added an option C to do an RFP. But I would like to give Chief Merton the opportunity to speak. Chief.
Thank you. I did create two options. Option A is the one that the General Government and Finance Committee approved to move forward. Option B, I put on there just as a discussion point. That's why the topic is discussion and action. Since Washington County IT was available, I figured they could come here and give a presentation on the services since there were a lot of questions. We do have Joel Wolpert and Scott Schmidt from Washington County here to speak on behalf of Washington County IT services. If you're willing to listen to them, there's more discussion as far as why it would be beneficial for the entire village to move over to that.
Trustee Paper.
I'm sorry, point of order, but the former administrator began the RFP process with direction from this board for IT services for the village. At the same time, discussions began with Washington County, but I'm still struggling with how the village moved from direction of putting out the RFP to a recommendation for a county partnership without a comparative evaluation being completed at all. Yes, it was with the former
When was it?
administrator.
When was that taken? I'm sorry, I wasn't aware of that. When was that vote taken?
Months ago, months and months
Yeah,
ago.
okay, that's fine. I don't.
I can't tell you the exact date off the top of my head, but I would be willing to go through previous agenda packets and
I did not have.
watch all the
I
videos
did not
and
see a
let you
record for
know
that.
the exact date.
Trustee Kaminsky.
I'm not familiar with that, but we did approve at GGF to move forward with the police department. And that is it. And so for this to come back here without going back to GGF is inappropriate, in my opinion. We could talk about the police and approve that if we want, but that's where it ends for me anyway, specifically, because it's inappropriate for not to go back to GGF as requested.
Point of order for clarification, Attorney Sajak, would it be proper to make a motion to enter into discussions solely on the police station and not the village at this time? Or to make an amendment to the motion only to consider the police station?
I don't think we have a motion at all, so there
But I'm
wouldn't be an
saying-
amendment.
Okay, so I could make a
Um,
motion in favor of only police discussions right now.
Yes, I think you could make a motion to approve the agreement or direct staff more appropriately to enter into negotiations for the agreement, because in my opinion, it's not in a position to be approved as it is tonight.
But
As
in
it
order-
relates to the police only, and that would limit your discussion to that topic.
So in order to even have a discussion on this, a motion needs to be made.
I'll make a motion to approve option A, which is exactly what we're talking about.
I'll second that for discussion. Thank you, Terry.
Do we have discussion? Trustee Peeper.
I have been searching and looking for the grant that would be covering that full-time staff member for the police station through the county. I cannot find it. If the county is here right now and they can please tell me when the deadline to apply for this grant is and where the money is coming from for this grant, if it is state, county, federal, whatever it may be.
If the board would like, I would like the county to give a presentation on what they're going to offer the police department, and then they can address your concerns as far as the grant options.
Please. Please.
Okay. There, it's Scott Schmidt and Joel Wolpert from Washington County.
Good evening. Welcome.
Good evening, and thank you for having us. I am Scott Schmidt, Chief Public Works Officer for Washington County, Wisconsin. I am the Highway Commissioner, County Surveyor. I also oversee IT facilities and transit for Washington County as well. I'm one of the cabinet members for the county executive, Josh Schulman. Several years ago, Washington County did a shared services program, not only for IT shared services, you might have heard of planning shared services for roadways. And so multiple things that Washington County has done to actually make government more efficient, as well as spread the money out a little bit longer. So as far as the grant is concerned, what the county executive and the county board have been using is sales tax money to supplement this. There is no official grant application. The grant application is us agreeing on you doing a resolution, the village board presenting that to Washington County. Washington County then takes that under consideration and decide if they can perform that duty or not under the shared services. And so there is no official deadline, no date. That's why there's not a hard sale here tonight. There's no reason to move forward tonight on any agenda item. If you want to pause and wait and look at other options, certainly feel free to do that. What we're looking for doing for shared services, not sure if it's in your pack or not, but we do IT shared service for 6 or 7 towns, Village of Kewaskum and Village of Newburgh. They don't pay anything for that service. It's all paid for out of sales tax dollars by Washington County. We had a public works meeting a few weeks ago to see if they want to expand the program, the IT shared services, to go into the Village of Germantown, Village of Richfield, for instance, City of Hartford, City of West Bend, and see how big they want to grow that, right? So the Public Works Committee has said, yes, we do think we want to grow that. This still has to go back to the county board yet. All right, so anything gets decided here tonight, whether it is or isn't, it's still got to go back to our county board, decide, do we want to expand the program and maybe add a position or two or not? They also decide, do we want to keep giving it away for free? Or do they want to actually maybe charge a little bit once we grow the program a little bit more? So there's a lot of unknowns on our side of the table too. So I want to make sure you're hearing that loud and clear tonight, that even if you vote for something, say, yes, we want to go with the county, we're 100% on board. Well, we still got to go back because I am not a policymaker at Washington County. It has to go back to our board, our executive, and they've got to sign off on the funding aspect as well. It could be anywhere from $0 all the way up to, it depends on, I think, to 155,000, if I remember correctly, if we have a position. I think the great thing about with that is really the truth of the partnership that we could create. I would highly recommend that if you haven't already, talk to the villages that we do, the towns that we do, and the support that we're able to give them. Joel is here. He is a doctor. We have another individual, Eric Mesa, who does a great job of security, who works with Milwaukee County Airport, and a great staff that we like to build out and provide that service to you. I think one great partnership with the police department is we have one IT person that's solely dedicated to the sheriff's department. And if you're not familiar with it, a sheriff's department IT is a little different than regular county IT or village IT for that matter. And so when you look at that going, it'd be great if we could hire another person and they would be basically housed in Germantown. And then we would have a partnership, if you will, so that if our person goes on vacation, that person can help support us. If your person's on vacation, if you only hire one person for that, what do you do when that person's on vacation? Who do you call? Or are they on call 24/7 all year long, right? We've got a staff here that helps support and supplement that staff, even if it's just one person for the police department, which you're discussing tonight, or maybe another half position for the village. That person would maybe be shared with, let's say, if you have a half position for the village, another half position might go to, let's say, the village of Richfield or something. You could share that position. The great part of that is these people will be in-house. I know we shared with the police chief, how that would look. Again, we're not married to anything. If it has to be, some weeks you might have more needs, some weeks you might have less, and all that stuff. We understand. We work with a sheriff's department that's very robust, and I'm sure you are too, with getting new vehicles and all that stuff. And so that's really what we're looking at tonight is you want to take the first steps and going, yeah, we want to continue this process potentially. We've got time to get into the nitty-gritty and all the details. There's going to be an MOU that gets signed after the resolution. That'll have a lot more detailed information in it as well. Certainly we'll into talking about what our staff levels look like. We'd be obviously adding staff. The benefits you have with going Washington County is even if it's $0 up to 155, you still have the support staff that's behind the scenes that can also help out the village as well. So it's not just because you have one person down here full time, doesn't mean you don't have access to everybody else at the village or at the county, the IT staff that we have. So that's kind of the plus and minus. Even if you're paying for that person, you still get the added benefit of having security experts on staff to help out. So that's really what IT shared services is about. If you haven't heard about our roadway shared services, we do that. We do, like I said, planning services, shared services. So we do a lot of that stuff to try to maximize the county dollars as we see them, not just county dollars, village dollars, but to pool them together and actually work together to try to save money, as one of the other constituents mentioned earlier tonight.
So the county sales tax is coming from folks that spend their dollars within the village of Germantown, correct?
County.
All of Washington County.
Correct. Okay. Question for you. In the packet, it says a tentative buy-in of 155,000. But you mentioned that we may be able to get that cost at a zero cost.
Correct. It could be anywhere from 0 to 155, and we're just estimating what that dollar amount would be for that person and what their fringe and benefits and all that kind of stuff, but that we feel pretty comfortable in that number. Again, it's got to go to the board. In the past, they've done IT shared services at $0 for everybody else, but at some point, maybe, as you know, with tax dollars, there's a tipping point, right, of where that is. I just don't know. But looking at the past dollar amounts that you've spent on IT shared or IT services, even if it's $75,000 or half of that, it'd still be a great benefit to the village of Germantown.
Right. So if this does move forward with option A, we probably should not identify a not to exceed cost because we don't even know what the cost is. It could be zero.
Yeah,
Because it's
if
after
you have
convention.
not to exceed, it could be anything less than that. So how I would look at it.
Trustee Kaminsky.
How quickly would this proceed for option A for our police department? It's because it sounds like there are many, many unanswered questions, correct? The county has to meet on it and
Oh, well, many unanswered questions. I think in the report, right, we label out the dates that we got to go, right?
so you're thinking this could be finalized for the police department within the next couple of months?
Oh, yeah, easily. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we were looking at going to our Public Works Committee here in June, County Board in July.
So we're kind of going into this open-minded, but also open-ended. We have no idea what it's going to cost, which is usually a kind of a concern for all of us. And I'm wondering if this is should be more of an exploratory thing until we get a price, as opposed to option A, which I made the motion for, is recommendation to proceed with one full-time IT service position. And I'm thinking that is a little bit too set in concrete. And I will make an amendment to my own motion to say we will continue to explore with the end result, hopefully, that we will end up with an IT person for the police department. I would like to make that amendment.
Trustee Kaminsky, would you be okay making a motion saying contingent upon a concrete cost brought back to the village board
Yes,
for
that's-
approval?
That would be fine.
Then I'll
to
second
include
that.
Absolutely.
Do we have discussion on the amended motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Trustee Miller.
Yes, I wanted to ask a few more questions about this program as,
This is just about the amendment, point of order. Just about the amendment.
okay, that has to do with money.
Yeah, we're going to vote on the amended motion and then we're going to go back to the original motion.
Okay.
Okay, and then we can have discussion. Further discussion on the amended motion. Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. We're back to the original motion and we're in discussion now. Trustee Pieper.
Thank you. My concerns are not about whether a change is needed. We know a change is needed. We know you need help and you need it now. You're not being properly serviced at the police station. You need help with Pro Phoenix. We know where we can get Pro Phoenix support. That's a fact. I am very, not so much skeptical. I actually feel comfortable moving forward with this as soon as we actually get a dollar amount like Terry was talking about. I do have a question about the exclusive provider of services though. So when you were just speaking before, that made it sound like, well, we could take some, you could do some, you know, a co-managed environment. But in the agenda packet, it says that the county would be the exclusive provider of services.
I'll probably, Dr. Wampert explain that probably a little bit better about how
Sure.
these services actually work themselves individually.
Cool, thank you. Thank you for the question. So in IT, when you get multiple administrators in the pot, all working on the same thing, you get a lot of back and forth of finger pointing that gets into, well, they did this and now it's affecting this, and it just makes a mess. It really does when you have multiple administrators working on something. If we would go with the one position, we would be supplemental support, and we'd have to clearly define what that segregation of services are.
That's exactly where I was going with. So this would be a co-managed environment where you would manage some things, perhaps Capital Data or whoever our IT provider would also, I completely understand that. So there would be a clear delineation of duties of who is handling what. But that exclusive provider, the terminology does not equal that.
Right. If you go with option A, that is accurate. If you go with option B, where county would absorb the whole village, we would be the exclusive, and Capital Data would be.
Well, yes, understandably. Okay, but so can that verbiage be taken out then?
There is no verbiage because will have to come back to, it goes back to the county board, comes back to us with the MOU with the Ts and Cs.
I am prepping him to what to come back with. That language would need to be taken out. Then I did have another question of the number of officers in Germantown right now is actually comparable to the number of Washington County sheriffs and deputies that are out there. How is the county going to handle that large of an increase in workload?
So
You're almost doubling the police officers in size.
right. So we would be looking at adding staff to
How many?
adequately. I mean, there's no way we could do this with the current staff. And that's why we're here, to get a feeling from you, to see if this is something you want to pursue. If you guys are interested in pursuing this, I can take this back to the county board and say, hey, Germantown's interested in this. To make this happen, I need X. And then that's when I would help get those numbers and get that dollar amount, and then get the adequate support to meet the needs.
Okay.
Yeah, for the police department, only are we looking at hiring one full FTE
Okay.
dedicated just for the police department. Now, I want to keep you guys keep this in your thoughts, that is one FTE person that you see here, boots on the ground. That doesn't mean you get the support of Washington County. So you have that whole support behind you as well.
90% of IT is done remotely anyway. So you would not actually be supporting the police station's technology. You would just be putting a boots on the ground technician.
So they would be on the ground here. The one FTE would be here on site. And that's with body cams and squad cars. There's a lot of hands-on stuff. I've witnessed this at Washington County. I would witness this at Milwaukee County. So that one person would be here as your quick call for support for the police department.
So what if they need support? It's not 24/7. If he's only here 40 hours a week, what if it's 3 a.m. and the chief's, there's an outage?
Yeah. And that's where we get with the separation of duties, right? If it's an outage, if it's server related, we're going to stay out, and the Capital Data, they're going to have to handle that. Okay. Now, if it's a squad that's down, or Pro Phoenix is down, then that comes back to the county. With the option B, if the The county would take on all of IT for the whole village. You're getting 24/7 support. I have a on-call number that is rotated through staff. And then I also participate in that as well. Chief
We're
has,
not discussing that as of yet.
correct.
This
But
is strictly for the police station. I want to make sure that all of his IT needs are covered right now.
sure.
I do encourage this conversation to go further, and I would like to hear back from the county. I was actually very disappointed that during GGF, it was agreed upon that I was going to go along to meet with you and the county, and because I had a very, very long list of questions. And I was actually looking forward to that, but I found out that the meeting happened and I wasn't aware of it. So I'm sure I would have many more questions, but I'm looking forward to see what the county actually provides for the chief. And trust me, I will look through it with a fine tooth comb for you.
Just so you know, after the GGF meeting, we didn't meet again as to discuss this. It was already decided just for them to come here. When you reached out to me last Thursday about the committee meeting, the agenda was already posted in the packet. So if you want to have a meeting with them after this, reach out to me so we can make appointments with them so we can get on board with this.
And just to confirm with our village attorney, that would not be violating any open meetings laws, correct? If I went with the police chief, even though I sit on public safety,
Just on your own? No.
correct?
Trustee Warren.
I understand this is for the police department, but just for food for thought, is there an economy of scale or a savings if you're doing the entire village?
So that's really up to how things play out, right? If we would do the whole village, to answer your question, you could eliminate some spend with capital data. I think when we did the report, it was $143,000 you spent on services and support. Those services would be taken over by Washington County. We would manage that. So server backup, server administration updates, we would manage all that, which you guys pay for. Any support calls. So Outlook's not opening or email's not working. Those would also be absorbed by the county. So there would be savings, possible savings for the village.
Okay, thank you.
Further discussion, trustee John Miller.
Okay, I have a couple of questions. My biggest concern was there's no 24/7. And our police department is very important. Pro Phoenix, they're glued to, I mean, they grew up with it. And I don't think it should be disrupted. So you state you're only going to be there Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4:30. And then you'll get back to us if it's resolve critical issues within 24 hours and non-critical within 5 business days. 5 business days? That seems long to me. My opinion. What?
It would depend on what the issue is. Some help desk tickets can take up to even longer than that if they're working with an outside vendor. Say they have to contact Microsoft, then you're going to be waiting weeks.
Okay.
And I do want to reiterate that there is 24/7 for public safety that is included in here. When I mentioned earlier,
That's not what it says in here.
is that the SLA? Yeah. So
This packet.
correct. Yeah, I wrote that back in 2024, so I do have to update that yet. But yes, and that is before we started taking on police departments as well.
All right. So tell me about your current situation. You gave a little map and all of the current outside entities that you're taking care of are towns. These towns, it says mostly towns, and they can't be that much of a population. So I want to know, do you take care of Washington County sheriffs plus these little towns, or what's going on?
Yes, so we have 7 towns and 2 villages that we currently provide IT shared
Who's the
services.
villages?
The villages are Village of Kewaskum and Village of Newburgh. And
Okay, they're not very big.
not very big, but they both have police departments, both have 24/7. We support their needs. yes, we support the sheriff's department. We do have one dedicated individual located in the sheriff's department, but he gets support from the whole county IT department as well. I have a total of 10 IT staff and we kind of all pitch in and work where we need to.
So you have 10 full-time IT plus the one that's at the sheriff's office.
9 plus the 1.
9 plus 1. Okay. All right. I am keenly aware of what has happened with the shared services and the dispatch. And it took a long time. It took a very long time. And the police department, fire department have been waiting for support for over a year, I'm sure. You've asked us before, came to the board. So I'm very hesitant when you say you have to hire people. We could hire people. And without having a comparison, you can come back, but it behooves us to spend that kind of money and not get serviced properly and go and have angst just because you're the county coming in. So that I just wanted to state that. And then wait, there's more. You want to come in for EMS as well, right? So
That's not on the,
Not this topic.
yeah.
I'm just saying that IT is just another element that the county is shared services that's trying to come in. So
Trustee Cuts.
So I guess what is the push behind the county getting into shared services in the different areas? Is the state pushing for the county to absorb more because you're shrinking local but growing the next up the food chain?
No, it's definitely not a push from the state or federal government. It's our county executive. Several years ago, you might remember there was a big push to share sales tax countywide with municipalities, right? Everybody, maybe I think the village of Germantown even passed a resolution, right? Give us some of the sales tax dollars. Well, this is why we're doing it, right? Is to make government more efficient. And by having that IT staff here, even if it's one person that gets hired, you certainly can hire that person. But you got to manage that person. Now you got one person versus a team of 10, maybe 11, 12, whatever that is, right? And experts behind the scenes helping out that person, supporting that person. So that's what the shared services is about, is to help that sales tax get that into the Germantown hands. This is one way to do it, whether it's a shared planner, or it's a shared roadway services or IT services. That's the way they're looking at actually utilizing to actually share that sales tax. That's why you see it more and more.
Yeah, I wasn't on the board at that time, but I do remember that they actually would have preferred to get the money, but the county wanted to do shared services instead of actually giving the tax portion to the village. Thank you.
More efficiencies.
Trustee Kaminsky.
I totally agree with us sharing IT services with the county. Don't get me wrong. It's just that we have a process that just didn't follow. In fact, if the motion had been at GGF, let's continue to explore this in partnership with the idea that we're going to be on board, I would have voted for that in a second. I think it's a great idea, but I do think, as we more or less discussed a little bit at GGF, we should set up a committee like we've done in the past with some internal people in the village who work with IT&T frequently, and our trustee Peeper here, who has got background in this, but set up that committee to work with you and determine how it's going to work for the village. But I am totally good with moving forward with the whole thing, actually, eventually, but certainly for our police department now. And to finally get some of our sales tax dollars back, that's something we've all been complaining about for years. And this is how they do it. They trade service for sales tax dollars. And I think it's great.
Further discussion. Trustee Kaiser.
Quick question on the shared revenue aspect of it. Is that determined the amount that they would offset with the sales tax for the cost? Is that reviewed every year? And that changes year by year depending on what the committee decides?
No, well, I would say every other year, the county has a 2-year budget cycle.
Okay.
And so I'd say every other year they look at that. But you also have to remember that in Germantown, for instance, you have 3 board members that represent the village of Germantown, right? And once you grow something like this, you all of a sudden just stop that program. And that's why they It's actually, I should have probably mentioned this earlier. It's one of the county's strategic priorities is to actually get this accomplished. So the whole county board is on board with this. They voted on their strategic priorities, their documents on our website, but they are committed to doing this.
Okay.
Again, the dollar amounts they got to work out yet, but they're committed to do this.
Trustee Miller, this is your second bite.
Sure. Just wanted to remind, when you're talking about shared services, we came with a resolution for shared services for road services. And it went to referendum, non-binding. And it was to get 20% of our current taxes that we pay to Washington County to come back to the municipality and exclusively be put toward roads. And it was turned down by Washington County.
Trustee Heffley.
Just say it. You were talking about shared services.
Well, I will say, new to GGF, that the A option, I was always in favor of. The B option, I needed a lot more information, which I stated at the time. It looks like we're going to do that. The other thing I'll state is we have an interim administrator, we have no finance director, and we have people that we have no village engineer. We are backfilling staff. And I just find it a little interesting that we bring this forward and throw it in the lap of a gentleman who is doing the best he can for us 3 days a week. Okay, so I find it a little curious. The timing is certainly curious. Helping the police, number one priority. Whatever it takes, get that done. But as far as the rest of the village, I need time to assess the options we have and if this makes sense to represent the constituents I represent. That is my comment.
Further discussion. I do have a best case scenario on this. Best case scenario from a timing standpoint, when this would come back to this board.
Again, we're looking at taking to our Public Works Committee in June. That's the third Thursday. The second Wednesday of July, be going to the county board. Again, they could decide like you are to pause it, delay it, or something like that too. So just understand, right? I'm on the county board. But right now they're looking at, hopefully we get their approvals in July of what that looks like. So we just need to know, what do we take to them, right? This is kind of more of exploratory for us too, going, well, do we take a 1 position to them? Do we take 1.5 positions to them? What do we take to them? Because they're in the same boat as you are going, how much is this going to cost us? Right? And so that's kind of the exploratory about the discussion item tonight too, is going, well, and that's why I appreciate the police chief putting it on there going, because I got to go back to my board and committee going, well, how much do they want? Right? And so that's why it's nice to know from the standpoint of, all right, are we talking 1 position? Or are we talking 1.5? Because it's a different dollar amount. So that's kind of the thought process on our end too, going, yeah, this is not a, we need an answer tonight, but just a, hey, we'd like to explore this. Okay, let's go back. We'll see what we can do.
Thank you. And just for purposes of clarity, the reason why option B was on here was during conversations this past week with chief, village administrator, and our village attorney, it was brought up that there was an issue, some concern relative to commingling issues relative to what happens with just the police, who's going to be managing things, et cetera. So that's why option B was on there for discussion. I'm going to vote for this to move forward. And it looks like we've got a couple months for additional action by this board. I would like to see a discussion going back to GGF about possibly doing a RFP to create an enterprise-wide IT solution rather than do it piecemeal as it is. But that's for further discussion with the chair of GGF. So, Trustee Pieper.
I'll comment on that later. Specifically to hiring a new employee that would be 100% dedicated to the police station, 40 hours a week. Would you be allocating one of your resources that you currently have on your staff, or would you be hiring somebody completely new from outside that would be the dedicated technician or engineer for the police station?
We'd be looking at someone from outside.
So you wouldn't give us one of your experienced on hand?
He would be there to help support, especially to help train, which you may not have if you get hiring your own person, right? So you have that person that they might even be down here 2 days a week during the startup, right? That's the whole thing that we haven't really worked out yet. And it's one of those little details that sometimes don't get written into agreements that happen.
And how difficult do you think it is to find an individual that is experienced in Pro Phoenix to hire? Because that is the majority of his,
Yeah, it's gonna be
difficulties.
very difficult. And that's where we have Lucas on site with our sheriff's office, who's gonna be your primary Pro Phoenix support.
Is he certified on Pro Phoenix?
I wouldn't say he's certified. He's been trained. He goes to the Pro Phoenix trainings. He works with Pro Phoenix. They have, in fact, he's gonna be in at 4 a.m.
So
tomorrow
there's one person on staff that's experienced with Pro Phoenix?
from the IT staff, correct?
Just one?
We have a backup who's not as experienced, but he can get around, create accounts, do
Knows
some
enough to be
maintenance.
dangerous?
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. And then the plan was with this individual that we would hire is gonna learn from Lucas, our Pro Phoenix expert, and that'll be constant training.
Because I know to educate somebody on Pro Phoenix and go through legitimate training with Pro Phoenix, it is costly.
Mhm.
It is very costly.
It is.
So would that be an added cost to the police department, to us, the village, to, if you had to have somebody go through that costly training?
So if they're an employee of Washington County, I do have a training budget, and I would more than likely put that into their budget, because it's gonna benefit more than just Germantown. It's gonna benefit Washington County. It's gonna benefit other PDs that we service.
Chief, I would definitely like it if you and I, nobody else on the public safety can come, or else it'd be an open meetings violation, but to continue. I mean, it's moving forward probably tonight anyway, but I would still have some questions that I would like to get answers to before it comes back with the concrete dollar amount.
That's fine, because it goes to their county board on July 8th, so this probably won't come back until either second meeting in July or beginning of August, because then they'll have the definite number for us.
All right.
Further
perfect.
discussion. So best case scenario, you're looking to come back to this body within 60 days. Whether we support that or not, if it's a thumbs up, the green light is for you to recruit. And I would say another 30 to 45 days after that. Best case scenario?
I mean,
'Cause there would have to be a vetting process with members of our board.
and then, yeah, depending on the agreements from the county board.
So you're looking at least minimum 3 to 4 months before we have somebody boots on the ground supporting our
Probably
police.
longer than that.
Right.
So to hire someone in this market in IT, probably 3 to 6 months of a hiring process to find the right candidate with qualifications. We're gonna try, do our best to find the right candidate. And then this would go before county board
July
in
8th.
July. So July plus add 3 to 6 months.
Okay, thank you. Further discussion? And we're going to be voting on the amended motion. Can you read that motion back, Donna, please?
Yeah, it was the additional with the concrete findings added by trustee Peeper. So we're going to continue to search and explore with the additional concrete findings by that Peeper added. So you were okay with that amendment to your amendment?
Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
One opposed. That motion carries. Thank you very much. Have a good evening. We're on to item H, EKM Moose Lodge number 1238, agent for Royal Order of Moose, property owner at W198 and 10217 Appleton Avenue. Application to amend conditional use permit number 07-02011 to revise restrictions on overnight camping on the Moose Lodge property from April 15 through October 15 annually. Jeff.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Moose Lodge, located on Appleton Avenue, is requesting revisions to their conditional use permit. Conditional use permit number 7-2011 was issued back in July of 2011. It allows the overnight parking and camping on the Moose property between the months of March to September. A maximum 8 vehicles, up to 3 days per vehicle per month for Moose Lodge members only. Another significant requirement is currently that the lodge is responsible for providing adequate sanitary facilities, including indoor bathroom facilities and up to 3 portable toilets. The The lodge is requesting revisions to those limitations, including removing the maximum 3-day limit that would, as a result, allow unlimited number of days or nights to park and camp on the property, and also seeking a revision to the time period from the March to September to from April to October. Staff would point out that back in 2011, the village board agreed to grant the CUP for overnight parking, given similarities to hotels and motels as permitted in the B2 zoning district. The original intent was to give the Moose Lodge the ability to provide convenient and low-cost alternatives for members who typically don't need more than 3-day stay when traveling between locations, and not necessarily intended to replace the services and safety provided by our brick and mortar hotels and motels in the Germantown area. It was back in the summer of last year that on the matter of annual and regular monitoring, staff uncovered some members that were staying longer than 3 days. We approached and discussed with the members the situation, which led us to their requesting changes to the permit that would allow the unlimited number of days for campers to stay. Staff concerns include currently the lodge allows RVs to dump their gray and black water into the holding tank that serves the property. That's not allowed under the sanitary code enforced by Washington County, so that needs to be addressed. And there's also a shipping container that's been on the property since, well, we first noticed it last summer, and it has not yet been removed. And there's no definitive plan that's been presented to date to deal with that. So that's another issue that shows up in the conditional use permit recommended conditions. Back on May 11th, the Plan Commission held a public hearing and considered the staff recommendation before discussing and making their own recommendation to approve certain aspects of the requested amendments, including approving the revising the 3-day limit up to a 15-day maximum day limit. They also are recommending approving the seasonal time change to the April 15th to October 15th time period. And they also agreed to adding or revising other conditions addressing sanitary disposal, a permanent indoor toilet and shower facility requirement, maintaining a guest lodge for village monitoring purposes, providing emergency contact information for their guests, obtaining a sanitary permit or approvals required for use of the holding tank for sanitary disposal if that's permitted. And then also removing the shipping container within 6 months after the CUP amendment recording if it's approved by the village board. Now, since the meeting in May, we have received a letter from the Moose Lodge. Dan Honor has submitted a letter that's in your packet requesting further revisions to the conditions that were recommended by the Plan Commission. Dan, if you're here this evening, I think I'd like Dan to come forward and explain what he's asking. Before Dan starts off, I would just point out that the draft CUP in the packet includes a total of 8 conditions that reflect the Plan Commission's current recommendation. So if there are further changes that the board wants to make to those conditions, we would look at that draft CUP and make those accordingly. Sorry, Dan.
Well, according to the planning commission's proposal, number one, I'd like to revise to, they want to remove SUVs and cars. Well, these trailers are towed in by pickups or they're RVs that tow a vehicle. So that's why I put in the revised that include the towed vehicle or the vehicle that tows in another, the motor coach that tows in a car. And 2, we have no objection to it all. At the responsibility of sanitation, we have dumpsters there, we have indoor bathrooms, porta potties we've got there. That's not an issue whatsoever. And 3, we have no issue with either. That's the same as it was in the original one. But when it comes to these outdoor showers and bathrooms, we have a problem with that. I mean, they'd never be used for one thing. We don't allow any campers or trailers that don't have full facilities in them. Operating showers, operating toilets, sinks. So there'd be no need for outside showers or toilets like in a regular KOA campground where they have tent camping. We don't allow tent camping. I have copies of agreements that they have to sign. If you want to see these, that the guests have to sign and agree to. And check-in sheets. For everybody here.
I point out this is information that wasn't included in the application packet, so Plan Commission members haven't seen it.
Right, I said it was in draft and it's just, it finished up after I sent that letter to you, that email.
So
But
these
it
are new
clearly
things.
states, we don't allow any tent camping, no pop-up campers, no mini campers, they all have to have full, complete hookup in their vehicle or in their camper for, toilet, shower and, bathroom facilities. And as far as dumping goes, we're going to discontinue that. I've got on that list, 2 places have them to dump, one for free, one very cheap. 3 companies that offer to come out and do the service to vacuum them out. And those prices vary, so I didn't put the prices down.
Mr. President?
Yep.
So to sum up, you were asking for revisions to condition number 1 to allow for a situation where there would be vehicle towing another vehicle.
Right, people come out 40-foot motor coaches and they can't just drive to the grocery store, so they tow a Jeep usually behind the motor coach, So I wanted to include an extra vehicle,
Okay, understood.
If people come out with a fifth wheel or a bumper full trailer, they'd have a vehicle, so they'd have the truck or the Suburban or what have you.
Sure. In condition number 4, you're asking to delete altogether, and that currently reads, the Moose Lodge shall provide permanent bathroom, shower, sink, and toilet facilities on a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week basis for overnight members only guests. And you're asking to delete condition number 8, which reads, the Moose Lodge shall remove the shipping container currently kept on the property within 6 months after the approval of this conditional use permit.
Right, I mean, we're working on that anyways. Willie can talk about that more than I am. I'm not really 100% involved with that. But I didn't feel I was part of this CUP to begin with. It wasn't on the one in the 07 2011 back in 11. I don't know why it would be on this one. It's not part of the permit, is it? Or we're working on it anyway, so it doesn't really matter that much if it stays in. But just curious why it was put in this.
Well, we don't have any information from you indicating when the shipping container was going to be removed, and we gave you a code violation notice last summer, so.
Fair enough.
And specific to number 4, that was recommendation from staff. Am I correct in that, Jeff?
Yes, because the current CUP contains a condition, it's currently condition number 2 in CUP 7-2011 that reads, the Moose Lodge is responsible for providing adequate sanitary facilities, including indoor bathroom facilities and up to 3 portable toilets. All portable toilets shall be properly cleaned and maintained and removed from the property during the non-parking months listed in number 1 above. So it was an addendum or a further.
And that's just a carryover for the CUP, correct?
Yeah, you
Okay.
could call it a carryover, yes.
Great. Okay, anything else, sir?
No.
Okay. Sure.
First, there's not really anybody on the premise monitoring any of these RV campers.
Well,
Correct.
It's adjacent to the Moose Lodge. It's open 4 to 5 days a week, so
But there's somebody at the Moose Lodge that kind of monitors who's coming and going
course, yeah.
and verifying that everything is being upheld, all the rules.
Yes. Yeah.
And is the Moose Lodge charging any of the members for use of
Well,
this?
they recommend a $20 donation per day.
Okay. And what's involved to become a Moose member?
Well, you gotta be sponsored by another member, so you gotta know somebody, and then you fill an application, and then you get vetted through the lodge. They do a CCAP check, and then the International in Illinois does a more deeper vetting. I don't know what their procedure is, but then once you're approved, within a week or 2, maybe 3, you get a card.
So this isn't something that I could roll up to the lodge and say, hey, can I join and park here tonight?
No, that's not gonna happen.
Okay.
Trustee Kaminsky.
I don't know who this would be directed to, I think to you. Have we had any noise complaints or any complaints so far with anything happening with the 8 vehicles at the Moose Lodge?
No, we don't have any registered complaints.
Okay, and that's my other question is, why 15 days? To jump from 3 to 15 sounds like a
Well,
campground
we
to
wanted
me.
to go to the whole, to unlimited because, and that's only because of last summer. That's where those extended stay people saw being back there, they're pipeliners that were, and they're all Moose members. They were doing that Wisconsin Energy Pipeline deal. It took forever putting that 36-inch main in. So they stayed there. Hardly ever saw the guys. They were 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. And it looks like they might be coming back in 28 after talking to a supervisor from We Energies. I don't know about the same guys or not, because they move all over the country, but that's why we're here to begin with, to extend it. And that's why my wife was involved in getting the application to amend this CUP. But they were going for a whole hog, for the whole season in case those guys come back, Generally, nobody stays more than 2 to 3 days anyways. And the ones that did stay and were violating, I didn't know this I didn't get involved until just 12 years ago. I didn't know it was 3 days. But some people stayed 7, but they weren't even in there for 7. They were there for 2. They go up to visit their kids and stay there for a day. Their friends are from out of state, come back, stay a day, and then hit the road. They're not like they're living there. It's mostly traveling through the state.
And it's the same number of vehicles, 8, correct?
That's all we have. There's 8,
Okay.
yeah.
Trustee Pieper.
Is there a motion on the floor?
There's not.
And we're getting into discussion without a motion. Make a motion to approve new business item H.
I'll second.
Are we doing anything on the request for item number 1 on the second vehicle?
And the toilets.
Well, hang on, let me pull up the agenda, the 2,000 pages.
Trustee Heffley.
I guess my only question is, I don't know if it was, first of all, I wasn't it was Plan Commission presented. I wasn't there and didn't look at it, but why do you have a shipping container out in front for a year? And I
It's
asked why.
stored for picnic tables and tents and that for the annual car show and some other outside events they do.
Okay, is that under ordinance or code or anything? Is that allowable in the way they're doing it?
It's not allowed, no.
Okay, so are you asking us to ignore that and just let you have a shipping container there for years
No, not
until
at
you
all.
build
No,
something or?
not at all. They're working on it. They got a
Okay,
deal going. with
so
the
you do have a
contract.
place to store it is what? You have an alternative storage place.
Well, they're gonna have a shed built or
Okay.
built on site or built off site, and brought on site.
That was, I missed the meeting, so thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Trustee Warren.
So being part of the Plan Commission meeting, I'd just like to go through some of those and give you my thoughts and feelings on it after Plan Commission meeting. So the overnight parking of vehicles, we deleted all the specifics. So isn't the vehicle that's towed behind an RV allowable now? Because we're not specific that we're not listing every vehicle that we allow. That would be, we'd miss something for sure. So I'm not sure what the request is for number 1, the way I read it now, because it just says the overnight parking of vehicles. And then we deleted SUVs, cars, campers, motorhomes, and that shall be limited to Moose Lodge members. So I don't know what the issue is with adding a Jeep or whatever.
As
Jeff?
long as that's allowed, as long as that towed vehicle is allowed in there. Seemed like you took it out. You took,
Do you have a clarification?
Yeah, Mr. President, could I address that? I believe that if you interpreted this literally, if one person comes with a large RV and they're pulling a small car, that would count as 2 vehicles, and they're capped at a maximum of 8 at any one time on the property. So you can have one camper who's using up the equivalent of 2 camper slots.
Okay.
So I think they're looking for some clarification that there's a maximum number of 8 campers who may each have 2 vehicles.
right, either a camper's gonna be towing a vehicle or the camper will be towed by a vehicle. So just,
Okay. Trustee Pieper.
Wait,
Okay, I'm sorry.
yeah. Okay, so on item 2, it's, okay, we deleted adequate sanitary facilities, including indoor bathroom facilities on that. Now, I don't know you say that all these campers have their own showers and bathroom facilities,
yes,
so that's,
because we restrict it to only vehicles that are self-contained. We
Yeah.
don't allow pop-up campers or tents,
Okay,
or micro campers that don't have showers. We only allow motor coaches, fifth wheels, and pull behinds that are fully self-contained.
but
That's
then
how it's
again,
always been.
number 4, it says you should, the lodge shall provide permanent bathroom, showers, sinks. So I'm not sure how 2 and 4 are related. They're,
4 replaces 2. 2 is a carryover, 2 is in the original CUP, and number 4 takes some of that language from the original condition number 2 and expands on it to include the sink and toilet facilities.
so if it's true that what this gentleman says about these are all self-contained, if that's the right terminology, I don't know why we should require permanent bathroom, shower, sink facilities. So that's my opinion on number 4. 6, you've got covered. And then you've had, since the plan commission meeting, we suggested that you talk to Washington County. Have you done that?
I've reached out to two places. I'll have numbers. I haven't got back. No one has gotten back to me yet. But
Okay.
in the interim, in that new intake letter, that agreement we got, we're not going to allow any dumping until we get verification from Washington County.
Okay, otherwise you would say no dumping and here's where you could dump.
I gave on that sheet, if you see it, I
Yep.
put down several options for them.
Okay, those are my opinions, and the shipping container has to be addressed.
Thank you, trustee Peeper.
I'd like to make an amendment to the motion and remove condition number 4 because it's obviously addressed with number 2.
Second,
What about condition number 1?
I didn't say anything. I voted to approve it as stated. And then I'm amending it to remove condition number 4 because that is
you got to change
in
1,
number 2.
Got to change 1, 2. It's okay, just add.
And then I would also like to add to that amendment. What do we need, Terry?
You need to allow up to 2 vehicles per camper or trailer unit.
I would like that
Yeah.
included with the amendment.
I might suggest limit the overnight parking to 8 campers plus 1 associated vehicle for each camper.
That's
As stated.
Does that cover you though? Because sometimes the big camper throws another little vehicle, but that'll still work, right?
would
Because
still
it's
work, yeah.
usually a
Yeah.
self-contained big camper that pulls a vehicle. Okay.
So we're voting on the amended motion. We have discussion on the amended motion.
Brian, can you go a little bit slower and restate that for me with the portion of your amendment? Or inclusion?
You're gonna expect me to remember it. Yeah, it would be to,
It was 8 campers.
let me just pull up the actual language here.
8 vehicles.
The final sentence of paragraph 1 would be amended to read, the number of vehicles parked overnight shall be limited to not more than 8 campers and 1 associated vehicle for each camper on the property at any one time.
And removing on.
Right.
Further discussion on the amended motion. Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? That carries. Now we're voting on the original motion that's been amended. We have discussion, further discussion on that. Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Thank you.
All right.
Have a
thank
good
you.
evening.
Thank you, Jeff.
We're now on to item I, Ruckert and Mikey report, or Mikey agent for F Street, Germantown LLC property owner. Certified survey map to divide an existing 37-acre parcel into 2 parcels to accommodate phase 2 of an industrial development. Property is located at N104 W12659 Dodgers Bay Road in the Town 9 Business Park. Jordan, good evening.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. President. As you mentioned, this certified survey map application, Ruckert Milky submitted on behalf of F Street Germantown LLC. Proposal is to divide an existing 37-acre parcel for phase 2 or to accommodate phase 2 of an industrial development. Here on screen, you can see the existing 37-acre parcel, which is zoned M1, which is at the corner of Dondras Bay Road and Wasaki Road. So some quick background, F Street Germantown, again, they're the owner of the 37-acre parcel. The parcel was platted in 2023 to accommodate
375,000 square foot industrial building, which has since been built and is fully leased now. So therefore, we have the CSM proposal to divide the property to accommodate the second phase of a project. Certified survey map was included in the packet and shown on screen here with lot 2 to the east of existing lot 1 where that building is currently. So with that, we had discussion at PC, Plan Commission on May 11th, and the recommendation was to approve the certified survey map subject to the one condition to address the village surveyor's review comments. And I will point out that the applicant has done so in the time frame that it took to get to this meeting. I can take any questions.
Move approval as stated.
Second.
Favor, please say aye.
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 That motion carries. Thank you. We're now on to item J, contract award to MC Group LLC for owner's representation services related to the police department building project. Trustee Cutts.
Before the chief starts, I just want to give my recollection. We've been dealing with between fire and police a lot, so there's a lot of confusion. So at the April 20th Village Board was when it came forward to approve the architectural firm. And I think there was a lot of discussion at that point about the construction manager at risk and costs. There were suggestions brought up about owner's rep and also questions from other committee members about why this did not go through Building Oversight Committee, which we have. So I believe at Village Board, we discussed that and said it would be going through Building Oversight from there. And I did not expect it to come back to Public Safety. And I don't think anything did in the meantime as far as RFPs or any of the other things that came up at our Public Safety meeting prior to this. So I just wanted to give a little background on that.
Thank you. Chief.
Despite what public safety didn't want to move this forward, I recommend that you hear the owner's rep that we're recommending MC Group's presentation. If you needed to go to the Construction Oversight Committee, we can set that up and then I can bring that back to the Public Safety or the Village Board. In June, however, we have construction manager at risk interviews the week of the 17th, so I'd have to bring it back on June 15th to the Village Board and Public Safety that night. But since Rick Miller is here from MC Group, I suggest or I recommend that we let him do the presentation so he doesn't have to come that night again.
Go for it.
Okay.
And again, also, we do have to create a process in terms of how the chair of the Building Oversight Committee is going to manage this whole thing. Are they to manage the what we're talking about now? Is that within scope for them? Are they, from a cadence standpoint, how often will they be getting report outs from the owner's rep on this? So we have to create that process, which we will, and that'll come back to this group for discussion. So good evening. Welcome.
This is the one? No, that's not the one. All right. We're on. Good evening, everyone. My name is Rick Miller. I'm the founding partner of MC Group. We are an owner's representation services firm, also known as an owner's rep. And I want to talk a little bit about myself first, and then a little bit about the firm. And then we can address why an owner's rep and what do we do, how do we drive value, and talk a little bit about our process and what you can expect. Then if there's any questions about the compensation that we proposed. Just so everybody knows, I think you're all aware of this, that we did receive a formal RFP, as did other firms. We did respond to that. There's a proposal that we prepared and submitted that I'm sure is available to each of you if you haven't already seen it.
We were invited to interview last Wednesday. We prepared for that, and this is the PowerPoint that we prepared for that interview. And so we're here this evening, hoping to gain support from the board to move forward. Not sure what the expectations are this evening. This is a little bit unusual. The interview presentation was an hour. We presented for about 45 minutes. I don't know if you have the interest in all 45 minutes or if I should try to cut it short.
Yeah, condensed version, please.
Just hit some high points. Okay. Okay. So first about me, I'm one of you. I live in the area. I grew up in Menominee Falls, went to Menominee Falls High School, went out to the big UW in Madison. I graduated in the construction administration course and then moved back to the area here. I live with my wife in Richfield. We've been at the same address since 1991 over by the Amy Bell School. And we own a residence on Butternut Court here in Germantown, where our two sons, adult sons with cognitive disabilities, live. In lieu of a group home, we bought them a home on Butternut, and we have a self-directed program with live-in caregiver. So Germantown is very much our hometown. I coached basketball and football in the rec league for 6 years, 6 basketball, 6 football. A little better at football than basketball. We did pretty well. But it's interesting to see the kids that I coached back then now as adults and having their own careers. It's pretty intriguing and interesting. So that is a little bit about myself. Our firm, MC Group, was founded by myself in 1998. So we've been around almost 30 years doing this owner's rep business. There's nobody else in the area that does only owner's rep services that's been around that long in this area. We are the leading firm. There are firms out there that do real estate development or they do some other services. All we do is owner's rep. So we are very well qualified. We have managed, boy, we're trying to count this now. We've managed over $5 billion of projects, most of them in Southeast Wisconsin, although we do work in Florida and some other states where our clients might take us. I've been in this room numerous times representing local projects as owner's rep, Ellsworth Adhesives, Ellsworth Corporation, Airgas, St. Boniface Church, other projects that we've managed in this area, school districts, which are managed very similar to this forum. School district for West Bend, school district for Menominee Falls. We did some other projects, private schools like Lutheran Living Word and St. Boniface, I think I mentioned. We also do a lot of hospital work. Hospitals that you're familiar with are projects we managed. Brainerd Hospital, Children's Hospital, since 1998. We've managed Menominee Falls Hospital when it was Community Memorial. Now, of course, it's Freighter. We built the West Bend facility. That was the West Bend Community Hospital. Now it's Freighter. And so a lot of healthcare projects. They're very complex and very much in need of organization that we bring. As far as staffing your project, we have 9 people on staff and 4 of us are partners. And we will staff the project with myself and Maura Riordan. Maura was, she's a senior project manager, lots of experience. She worked for CG Schmidt for many years on the construction side. I think you're familiar with them. And we were lucky enough to get her, I think 4 or 5 years ago. She and I are currently managing the Port Washington Police and Fire Department. We're going to talk a little bit about some parallels on that this evening. And she is just a terrific manager. And she was at the interview and participated. So the group that was at the interview got to meet her as well. This was our agenda. We talked about our introduction. We're going to talk about the owner's rep value that we bring, the services we offer, and some success stories. I'll try to be brief. Talked about this being our community. We find the projects that are community-based being the most rewarding because we see the outcome of our collective work serving the community, and it's very, very rewarding. Sense of accomplishment is what drives us. We talked about our extensive experience, again, only as owners reps. We don't do any other business like some firms do. This is all we do, and we do it better than anyone. Talked a little bit about our team structure. Again, Maura and I will be hand in glove working with the chief and of course, working with the architect and construction manager. Our responsibilities really overlap, but they are kind of separated. We want to be very efficient. When we put together our work plan and our related fees, we wanted to be very, very efficient. In fact, our fees on this project are lower than they are at Port Washington. And I know the Port Washington fees, we didn't learn this until after we were awarded the project, but our fees were less than half of what they budgeted for our services. And we're doing very well. Question?
Kind of a point of order thing. I'm really confused how we even got to this point where a presentation is in front of us right now. There is a lot of procedural concerns. This went through improper governmental channels. The committees were completely bypassed. There was action without committee or board delegation. There's governance, authority concerns, all of the above. Attorney Sajak, the fact that it even got here because the village board intended to get an owner's rep.
Jesse Pieper, the village president, is allowing this presentation to go on. The Public Safety Committee from a path forward is going to the Building Oversight Committee. Out of courtesy, the village president is allowing this presentation. Attorney, are we doing anything that is out of procedure, out of governance, et cetera?
No, I mean, it's certainly on the agenda for this evening for the topic. The discussion came up of whether we wanted to allow the presentation to continue. President said that he would like to hear the presentation. The board didn't object at that point. And so I think it's appropriate and proper for it to be potentially discussed.
But not action.
We're not taking action tonight.
Correct. I mean,
I'm here as an action.
We're not taking action tonight because of public safety. The path forward is going to building oversight.
Right.
That'll come back to the village board.
Now, understand you were not in the room when that discussion took place.
I'm sorry, my son has.
I understand. I'm not criticizing. I'm just saying you weren't in the room. You would have heard even Chief Merton indicate that he understood that this needed to go to the Building Oversight Committee and was okay with that. He had just suggested, since Mr. Miller was here, that he could do the presentation, so he wouldn't need to do it
So
multiple
this is
times.
going to
moving
go
forward.
first to the building oversight.
Correct.
You can continue. Thank you.
I'm a little confused.
Procedurally.
Yeah.
This has nothing to do with you, and I apologize for.
Again, we're
interrupting
allowing
you.
the presentation to go on in a brief presentation.
I'm here to answer your questions.
This
Wasn't
has-
expecting to do an entire presentation. I'm happy to do so if that's what you want.
No. I was addressing procedural.
I can tell you,
concerns.
I'm a taxpayer too. And I can tell you, you need help on this project. Your
I
timing, you're running out of time.
completely understand.
Yeah.
100%.
And as your owner's rep, it's my job to tell you this. I'm going to tell you, the timing of this project is perfect. You have an architect on board. We should have been on board before them, but that's fine. You cannot hire your construction manager before us. That would be foolish. Some of our biggest impact is in team selection and contract negotiations. We need to be onboarded. This project is going to head into design. We have 6 months to design this so that we can bid it in January. Perfect time to bid it. We award it in January. Then we have 2 months to order long lead time items like steel and decking and all the things, precast, all the things that take months to get. And we're ready to hit the ground in March. That allows us to enclose the building before the snow flies and work through the winter inside. It's perfect timing. And if there's a procedural error issue, I urge you to work it out.
We are working it out, and thank you for your commentary. Please continue with your
Well,
presentation.
it's frustrating to
Please
me.
continue with your presentation. There's no procedural issue here at all. So please continue.
All right. Well, again, I'm here to answer questions, but I just want to urge you that you've got to move on this. And construction projects, they never get less expensive. They only get more with time. And if you miss the timing of this, you're going to spend $500,000 on winter conditions that you can avoid.
Okay, best case scenario, this will be back on the village board on the June 15th meeting. So
some of the differences between a construction manager and an owner's rep. We get this asked often. Why do we need an owner's rep if we have a construction manager? Your construction manager is the constructor. It's the general contractor, the construction firm. And without an owner's rep or someone that's qualified to oversee them, you're relying on them to establish their own budgets, their own contract amount. You're allowing them to bill for things that as they see fit, and who is there to watch to make sure that it's compliant with the contract. That's what your owner's rep does. We stand in your corner, we represent you. We have no conflict of interest. We're really an extension of your staff. Always representing the owner's interests. Whereas the construction manager, they may be great guys and gals, they might be terrific people, but they're under contract to deliver the project within a guaranteed maximum price, and their fee is at risk. If they don't manage it right, they're going to lose their fee. They're going to put that ahead of anybody's interests. Just natural. The other thing that we do is we manage the entire project budget, and I can see that there's some confusion, and it's not uncommon with a little bit of confusion with on owners' parts. You've got, let's say it's a $35 million project, and for now it's a reference number. Is that the construction cost? Because 20% is going to be for soft costs, IT systems, FF&E, which is fixtures, furniture, and equipment, and other things. And your architect nor your construction manager are going to manage that. The owner's rep is going to manage that. And it's very important. That's where those areas are where you typically go over budget, because you carry plug numbers, you didn't think it through until the very end, and then you find out, oops, we're way over budget. We manage that from day one. In fact, that's one of the first things that we do. We also track all of the project costs. We review every single transaction, any kind of change request, whether it's a budget transfer or a change order. We scrutinize every page, every item. We treat it as though it's our own money because we're an extension of your staff, so it is. And we make sure that we're getting a fair deal. We keep very accurate, comprehensive, and contemporaneous records on the financial side so that we can always give you forecasts that are accurate. And that can be really important for you when you have to make change order decisions. You may want to add some scope. You don't know if you can afford it. We can forecast well in advance. We don't have to wait till the end and tell you that you could have afforded it. We can tell you real time because our systems work that well. We have tons of references and examples to prove that. Just reiterating the difference between the owner's rep, construction manager, and the architect. We like to use the analogy of a three-legged stool, and that stool has to support all the weight of the project expectations. That's budget, that's schedule, that's program, that's quality, that's safety. Everything has to sit on that stool. And the stool can only support that weight to the extent of the weakest leg. We make the owner's leg stronger. So we support you, and we are the voice representing you. When the construction manager and the architects come to the regular meetings, I can guarantee you we will be the most experienced people in the room representing you. So that's what drives project success. That's what drives value, which is why we're here. There are typically 4 phases of the project. We're involved in all of them. There's the design and pre-construction. That's what you're launching right now. And then there's the bidding and procurement. That's when the plans and specifications are completed and they're ready to go out for bidding to the market. There are strategies that are really important to be able to promote that, to get the right subcontractors interested, to get good, robust bidding. There also is strategy with how you break up the bid packages. There'll likely be about 16 different bid packages, and you have to be very careful on how they are divided and communicated so that you don't have any gaps or overlaps and that it's very efficient. You've got the right trade doing the right kind of work. Now, the construction manager drives that process, but we offer input. And if we can bring one subcontractor that may otherwise not have bid the project, that can save you hundreds of thousands of dollars. And subcontractors like to bid on the projects we're involved in because they know they're going to be well organized. Construction phase, obviously, that's the bulk of the schedule. That's when we have influence on all of the happenings in terms of maintaining schedule, making sure that quality control processes are in place, not only being done, but being well documented. And there are hundreds of cost transactions, we call them cost events, that are either budget transfers that are cost spent within the guaranteed maximum price or change orders that are outside of the contract amount. We track and review and approve every single one of them. In fact, they're not approved until we sign off on them. And whether we sign off or whether the chief or his designee signs off, that we can establish as protocol, but the owner has to approve every single budget transfer. And that causes some really well organized systems that drives value, and in the end we have cost savings. A phase that gets overlooked is the occupancy and move-in phase. And for a successful activation phase, you really need to start planning actively weekly, 6 months before that event occurs. There's a lot to it, and we can assist in organizing that so that it's not chaotic, that it's well organized and even enjoyable. Talked a little bit about the design and bidding and construction phase. I'm kind of tracking through this fairly quick. Let's be happy to answer any kind of questions. Let's talk about the Port Washington project because it is very similar. That project had a budget of 35 million. It's about, I think, 64,000 square feet. It does house both police and fire in the same building. And the mayor suggested to the Common Council up there to hire an owner's rep. We received the RFP, responded, we were awarded. And the community was very concerned, just as some of the comments we heard this evening, how can we drive costs down? Because it's going to affect all of our taxes. Within about 3 months, we had dropped the budget to 33.5 million. So we got a good $1.5 million out just through value engineering. We did not cheapen the building. We had a very robust list of things that we could look at and let the owner choose from with our guidance and recommendation. We got it down to 33.5, and then another 3 to 4 months later, we were complete with design, took it out to the market to bid. And we were able to drop that budget after bidding to 31.8. Now, these are not guarantees that this is going to happen on any, every project, but it's a demonstration of a project that's currently underway that has had great success. I told the chief, did we do that? No, we didn't do that. Were we part of it? Absolutely. It takes a team. It takes the architect. It takes the construction manager. It even takes some subcontractors. And it certainly takes the owner to contribute. And we facilitate that process, and we're really good at it. We've done it I've been at this for 46 years. As owner's rep, it's going on 30. And I can tell you that in almost every case, we work for an owner, they hire us for the next project. And in the case of Froedtert Hospital, it's been 27 years and going. We're the first ones they call because we always have great results. I might be getting a little long here. I apologize, but by the
How about a couple more
way-
minutes, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
The 31.8, that was at bidding. We are now tracking. We're about 1.5 million under budget. And we're not done yet. We're going to spend some of that remaining contingency, but we feel really confident that we're going to bring this thing $1 million under the 31.8. So when does the value engineering, when does the cost savings process stop? Never. It doesn't stop. We just keep going. And it takes a collaborative effort, and it has to be done with mutual respect. We have to have respect for our construction manager, their subcontractors, their vendors, the architect, everybody, including the agencies having jurisdiction that give us building permits and utility companies. So we work with a high level of respect. So I think I'm at the closing here. We do have a slide here that we can jump to with some information if there's questions. But sorry that I got a little fired up, but I really want to get started with this with the chief so that we can start making progress and coming back to all of you with answers, not just answers, but with facts behind it.
Great. And we'll have you back at the Building Oversight Committee and then back at the full board. So any questions for the speaker? Trustee Heffley.
Based on the information, thank you for the information. I think we're doing the right thing here for the residents. And the only question I have is you're operating off a $35 million budget and we have not set a budget for this project. So how do you deal with that what if it turns out to be a $20 million project or a $24 million? Do you adjust based on that?
Yeah.
Because we don't know the scope. We don't know what we need or what we want. That's up to the architects and the chief and everybody to tell us, hey, this will work for us. It doesn't have to be 35 million, correct?
It doesn't have to be 35 million. It really starts with what your needs are. And that drives what's called the program.
Right.
And the program then drives space. And the space we can apply, we've got lots of historical data to apply costs just to make sure that this isn't a $45 million project. So that we can guide that. And then it takes an iterative process for us to come back and maybe with some options and some costs and budgets for one option for you to approve. In the case of Port Washington, they approved 35, and then they amended that when we came with 33.5. That they just trimmed that right down. That couldn't exceed that. And then when we had bid results, they trimmed it again. And so, but to your point, we need to understand what the needs are that drives the program, and then we can get a good solid budget. The other thing that we need to do is I mentioned this, the 20% outside of construction, that's part of the budget. We need to figure that out early and start, and that's what we do. And, if it's indeed $35 million project, that only leaves you 28 for construction. The other 7 is for these other costs. Now, school projects usually come in at maybe 12.5 to 15, so maybe 20% is overstated. But we need to give you a good, solid, well-researched, comprehensive budget so that we don't have any bogeys where we come back and say, well, we didn't know the IT system was going to be 750,000. We've got to figure that out from day one. So
Further
hopefully that
questions?
answers your question.
I'll wait to see when you get more information, but yes, I mean, I'm new to the board, but the residents contacted me already about where they're seeing a very large number. And that doesn't mean they don't support public safety, because they do, because we passed a safety referendum to support them. And now we want to do the right thing for them, but
Right.
money is always a concern. We hear it from residents, but I hear it from the people that I represent. And so I have to keep that in mind
Absolutely.
as a financial person. So
I'm right with you on that. We all do. The success story is bringing the highest value.
right. That's why we need you.
delivers the program that we need. That is going. You don't want to have to. You don't want to have to shortcut it where you have to build again in another 5 years or 10 years, obviously. So you got to be smart about it.
Trustee Warren.
So are we saying that this should go back or should go to the construction committee because of procedural?
There's no procedure. We haven't created a procedure in terms of, from a governance standpoint, how your committee will be managing this. We will have to create that. But there was a motion that passed public safety that this go to your committee for review, and it'll come back to village board.
So we're asking, first of all, if we need an owner's rep, and then if we should select Rick. That's the decision you want to see come out of the construction committee.
Correct. And we could, hopefully, you and I'll schedule that, hopefully over the next week, so it could get back on the docket on the June 15 village board meeting. So.
I'm available.
Great. Trustee Jan Miller.
Thank you for the presentation. Can you give us an approximate number of, for the public safety building for Port Washington? Do you know how many police and firefighters they have in that building approximately?
How many firefighters and police? I do not have that number.
Okay.
I certainly could track that down. I just don't have that in my mind right now.
And it's 64,000 square feet.
Yeah. The building is about the same size, but again, it's 2 departments, police and fire.
Sure. Okay.
Further questions?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. We are now on to item K, presentation on the countywide EMS services. Good evening, welcome. And John, can you kick us off?
Well, good evening, everybody. My name is Dave Sager. I am the Chief Public Safety Officer for the Washington County. I'm here tonight at the request of Village President Soderberg, and I appreciate that and appreciate your time. Long night. I'll try to keep it brief, but we're here to discuss what was brought before the Public Safety Committee several months ago, I would think, regarding the countywide EMS system. I think the PowerPoint is coming up.
And I'll just say that, as you all know, that I participate in the chief elected officers meetings, and this has been top of mind for discussion. In fact, this has been the only discussion item, the EMS initiative, and it's moving rather quickly. And that's why I asked for this presentation, so that we're all aware of what's going on.
Okay, so please stop me if you have any questions, but just to start out with the mission statement of Washington County, our mission statement is probably not any different than what every municipality throughout our county or throughout the state of America. It's that we create the environment for residents and businesses to enjoy our authentic quality of life to a well-governed and administered county dedicated to safe and secure communities, economic growth and vitality, effective mobility and reliable infrastructure, and access to basic needs. So top of mind, as the president stated, the main priority for any governmental entity is safety and security. And I got here for the public safety meeting at 6 o'clock, and I saw Chief Delane and Chief Holmes recognize 3 of their firefighters for a life-saving award. It's incredible. That's what we're here for. That's what we do. I spent 33 years in the fire service, the first 5 as a volunteer, 2 of which I was a dispatcher. The remaining time of that period, I was a full-time firefighter for the city of Milwaukee, retired as a deputy chief of operations. So fire and EMS is just in my blood, and I'm very passionate about it. Throughout that entire time, we've encountered a lot of things in the city of Milwaukee regarding budgets. Budgets are difficult. You all know that. You've all experienced it. You went through a referendum. You supported that referendum because we needed more firefighters in Germantown. Richfield went through a referendum in 2024, went from a volunteer agency to a full-time agency, municipal. So it's in our blood. That's what we do. That's what you're here for. And the residents responded. This last election cycle, April 7th, there were 6 public safety initiatives on the ballot. 5 of those 6 referendums failed. The only one that passed was in Wausau, Wisconsin. And it passed by a 50.5% to a 49.5% margin. That's very close. Things are getting costly. As we've heard tonight in public comment, taxes, taxes, taxes. How do we achieve an objective that decreases it while still providing the same services that our constituents have come to know and expect? That's what fire does. That's what law enforcement does. They're always there. We have strategic priorities in Washington County. And in Washington County, as my colleague Scott Schmidt identified, and again, Father Time is undefeated. One of our pillars under safe and secure communities is align expertise, technologies, and scarce resources for justice, personal safety, and crime prevention. We adopted an initiative earlier this year under those strategic priorities. And one of the action items is, as part of the 2026-2027 biennial budget, staff will propose a continuation of fire EMS funding of no less than $1 million for 2026, with a plan to recommend permanent funding for 2027 and beyond. This bullet point is particularly important. In cooperation with the municipal chief elected officials and the Washington County Fire Chiefs Association, staff will make a comprehensive proposal for an EMS consortium and volunteer fire support plan for execution no later than January 1st, 2028. That is a key bullet. As President Soderberg has identified, we've been having chief elected official meetings since, I'd say, 3 years ago. They are conducted bi-monthly, and we talk about a range of topics. As the president also indicated, the last several meetings have been particularly dedicated to this subject matter. It is top of mind. We have asked our chiefs to submit to us what their 5- and 10-year projections are. Typically, we don't do that in the fire service. We don't do that in law enforcement. We don't do that as elected officials. We go from day to day. We go from year to year and figure out how we're going to massage all our numbers to make it fit for the next year as best as we possibly can. In that regard, we identified 5 objectives. The first of which is to mitigate long-term 5- and 10-year property tax burden for Washington County taxpayers. Proliferate the volunteer and paid-on-call fire and EMS services. That is enormously important to Washington County, to the executive. Washington County has been in existence since 1836. We're 190 years old. Boltonville just celebrated their 109th Rain Days event. That is the fabric of our community. That's who we are. We're very traditional. We like things like the Boltonville Rain Days. Richfield Days, Action and Jet, all these different things that we're a part of that we experience throughout Washington County. Thirdly, preserve satisfactory level of EMS service for all Washington County citizens. Fourth, relieve municipal fiscal pressure. And fifth, and I want to make sure that everybody hears me succinctly. I know it's late, but provide fiscal sustainability improvements for fire EMS departments while maintaining local control. That's huge. Washington County is not in this concept proposal phase, the facilitating phase to take over EMS. We have superior fire and EMS services right now. What Washington County wants to do is to be able to support our municipalities and our fire and EMS departments. That's our only objective. We have a bit of a history, and President Soderberg mentioned this. In 2023, the fire chiefs actually came to Washington County and asked for help. They saw what's coming down the pike. They identified the problem, identified a solution. Washington County implemented that. 2024, the county fire and EMS grant was stood up. That's that $1 million a year that was provided to our fire and EMS departments. I believe Germantown is $177,000 annually. We did that in 24. We did that in 25, and in 2026, we continued that support. So for 3 years, that's $3 million. Those 3 years was not tax levy funded. The first 2 years was ARPA funded. This year currently is opioid settlement funded. This year, we put together the stakeholder work group. That stakeholder work group was formed of the three stakeholders: the chief electeds, the city, town, and village administrators, and fire chiefs. So it's a collective group that's working together to form this proposal, the framework that we're discussing tonight. In 2026, again, we're discussing that proposal that's been in the development phase. So Washington County and 72 other counties have a unique statute in state law. This allows the county to exceed levy limits in order to stand up, support a countywide EMS system. Again, to be clear, just because I say it's a countywide EMS system, it does not mean the county's doing EMS. We have superior levels of service already. Without this statute, without the county stepping in and assisting you and all other municipalities in this effort, you have four choices. You can hold a referendum. You've done so. You have done so. And you should be very proud of yourself for that. The constituency of Germantown should be very proud of that. But at the end of the day, costs continue to increase year over year over year. And particularly with fire and law enforcement, fire departments since COVID, the cost of equipment has almost tripled. That's a stunning number. Cost of a ladder truck of $3 million. And if you don't order it today, you won't see it until 3 years from now. That's a problem. You can borrow money. In my own personal, I don't like borrowing money, but it's available to you. You can cut services within your agency. You can borrow from Peter to pay Paul, or you can create a new taxing district. None of which are really good options, but that's what you have available to you. Interestingly enough, my colleague brought up this resolution that was sent to the county several years ago. I have it. It's right here. It asked the county to share 20% of the sales tax. We didn't do that, but we did create shared services. And inside that shared services, since its creation, and this was just updated May 27th, Since that time that we started this program, late 2023, collectively, Washington County and its shared services agreements has totaled $7,789,783. Those shared services include the EMS grant, dispatch, deputy sheriff, actually is being used to cut taxes at the county level. GIS, IT services, lead lateral grant, municipal planning, roadway maintenance. I believe I heard someone say that sales tax should have come back in the form of roadway maintenance. That roadway maintenance over the course of the last 2 years and maybe 2 months equals 16% of that $7,789,783. That's approximately $1,245,000 that has given back in sales tax in shared services. Moving forward, I commented earlier that we had asked all our chiefs to submit a 5-year and 10-year projection. What you're looking at on that yellow line is your net new construction, what you're able to increase your taxes by. That blue line reflects what the 5 and 10-year projection is. There's a huge gap there. The county is looking to support fire and EMS throughout the county in conjunction with our municipal partners through shared services to cut right through that golden blue line and potentially bend it down. That's the objective. The reason for the cost increase year over year is that our call volume is rapidly increasing. Over the past 7 years, it has gone up 50%. Another 5 more years, that will double. The reason for that is because the demographic of our county and population has changed since 1970 through 2020. It's increased 114%. Over that course of time as well, our age has increased. That happens in life. 10 years ago, or in 2010, our population for our ages 65 plus has increased dramatically. And that only is going to increase year over year. That age pyramid, what you're looking at is that bell curve. As the years progress, those numbers at the top of that chart will increase. The older we get, the more services we will need. For our volunteers, this is another challenge that we have. Throughout Washington County, while our volume of call demand has increased dramatically, the number of volunteers has decreased dramatically. It's not just the fire service, it's universal. Church, Rotary, things of that nature. Just there's no time. You need two family incomes to support your family. There's just no time to do the volunteers like we once did. You can see on the front end of that volunteer graph that we have less younger people volunteering, but the older people they stick with it. And that's our objective throughout this whole thing, is to get people in early, because once you get in, they stay. It's a very addictive service, helping others. Our volunteers, I'm going to skip this last one, because that just gives you another look at how our volunteer ages look and their years of service. So in the end, we do achieve every single objective that was first identified. We will mitigate the long-term tax burden for Washington County taxpayers. It will proliferate the volunteer and paid on-call fire and EMS services. It will preserve satisfactory level of EMS service for all Washington County citizens. It will relieve municipal fiscal pressures. And lastly, it will provide fiscal sustainable improvements for fire and EMS departments while maintaining local control. Again, that's a very, very, very important point I need to make and re-emphasize. Washington County is not coming in to do EMS. Washington County is coming in to support financial, fiscal. Out of the 13 departments that are currently operating, 8 of them have identified to us that within the next 5 years, they will be seeking referendum because the costs are just exploding. I'm happy to answer any questions. I want to speak to Trustee Heffley. I don't want to provide any numbers quite yet because the proposal is still in flux. And as you stated, the minute you put a number out there, it's there. And that's your reference point always, reaching back to that. So we do have a proposal. The framework is there. We just got to make sure we're working with chief electeds, with administrators, with our fire chiefs to make sure that everything is copacetic. Lastly, that statute that I identified previously, there are 14 other counties in the state of Wisconsin that are currently participating in this type of system using that statute, none of which come remotely close to what Washington County is trying to achieve. Many of them have used this statute to actually do county-wide EMS. Again, I want to reiterate, Washington County does not want to do EMS. We already have the capacity with all the people that are already doing it. So I'm happy to entertain any questions for any of you.
I have a question, and thank you for being here tonight. It was a long night. But from a 30,000-foot level, and I understand there's been a lot of moving parts on this in terms of dollars and so forth.
Yes.
And nothing's finalized until it's finalized. But the Washington County would levy a tax.
Yes.
A portion of that tax would go back to the municipalities.
Yes.
And whether it's part of the equalized value or population, that has not been decided yet. And then we would get those dollars to provide operations revenue
For anything,
for anything.
Yes,
Okay.
for anything.
And we haven't identified those dollar amounts yet.
Not yet. We gotta put it together and see what the chief elected officials think, what the administrators think, what the fire chiefs think, but specifically to what the chief elected officials think. That's critical.
And ultimately, it's up to the Washington County Board
Yes,
to approve what that tax levy will be.
correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Trustee Pieper?
Why not just give us our sales tax revenue?
We are through shared services.
Why not just give it to us directly so we can allocate where we think the funds are needed
Because the statute is clear that the counties receive the sales tax.
to remain controlled?
Trustee Heffley?
The only comment I would make is you got the gold number and the blue number. Because we did a referendum, our curve is higher. We're closer to the blue line than we are. That was representing those that hadn't done a referendum, the gold and the blue. Because
Yes.
we did a referendum and we spent, to fund all these extra people, we're actually closer to that upper line, aren't we? Because we've done that already.
That blue line reflects the county as a whole.
Okay,
From
I
all
was
the
I was
departments.
speaking of Germantown specifically. So
Right. I don't know
when
what
we
that-
get, so the only question, we'll figure out the numbers. When we get it, there's going to be a new tax to the people in Germantown, and that's how they're going to look at it. It's not a levy, it's a new tax for them.
Okay.
And they're going to say, hey, we just passed a public safety referendum for the guys and gals that we need, and that's fantastic. So is that being taken into effect, and you don't have the numbers with you, that we could perhaps get a credit or more money or whatever it is to offset that? Because not every place in Washington County is going to do a referendum or is going to be successful with one.
Correct.
And we are. So I just want to make sure that we're not unduly providing EMS to the whole county because we're the second biggest municipality in the county. That's my concern.
That's a fair comment.
Trustee Miller?
Could you give me that state statute again, please?
It's in the PowerPoint, trustee, but I can.
Was this
give it to you.
attached to ours?
It is, ma'am.
Okay, then I'll look it up.
It is statute 66.
It's not in our packet.
It's in the PowerPoint. Oh, I'm
We'll
sorry.
make sure that gets out there
Sorry.
and
I'll
be
give it
part
to
of the
you,
packet.
trustee. Sorry.
Pardon me?
66.
Yep.
06 02 sub 3 E6.
Trustee Kaminsky?
Thank you.
Quick question. Actually, I agree with everything trustee Heffley has just said, that that referendum was hard fought for those of us who were on the board for that. And it was relatively close, but we got that passed with the understanding, it was almost $1.5 million permanently, which was probably reflected in at least a couple $100 a year, the average home here in Germantown. And the whole idea was that we were staffing our fire department for the future. I think it was 5 members, if I'm not mistaken, or 10, it was 10. Yeah, and it was like 1.49 million. And I mean, I had to really sell that to my neighbors because I believed in it, because public safety is number one. But that's a big hurdle to get over. I'm not sure I can get over it because we planned, like we tend to do in Germantown. We plan and then we fight for what we think we need. And now we're going to add another tax. And even though it's coming in as a county tax, time out. Our constituents see it as a tax. It's like, just like, what for? About every 4 to 5 years, we borrow for an ambulance, which we need. We don't need a ladder truck, don't want to pay for that. And we're accustomed to that, and that is worth borrowing for. That and roads, in my opinion. And I get the whole thing, 3 years to produce it, costs a lot of money. But I'm gonna have a hard time getting over the hurdle after we take the time to plan. And our fire chief brought to us years ago the fact that we could not get the paid on call and the volunteers. And we supported him and went along with what he requested of us. And I feel like, heck, we've done all the heavy lifting and the hard work. I'm not sure I want to support the whole county. But that's what you're going to have to get over for a hurdle among several of us.
And please, these conversations, discussion is very good. He needs to hear that because he needs to go back to the chief elected officials and share what he is hearing tonight. So any other discussion on this? Because I have concerns as well from a double taxing. I have a concern about that. But I also have a concern because of net new construction and the lack of that and the cost of inflation, salaries and wages for our firefighters. We're going to be in a hole relatively soon. So there needs to be some discussion in terms of a path forward. I support what is going on. I was a critic, a very big critic, when I first started attending, and now I'm supportive of going down this path. But as long as we do our due diligence and we're very transparent in terms of what's going on, which is why we're here tonight, because this is getting legs and there's still a lot more that needs to be done. But he needs to hear your discussions, your concerns. So, Trustee Miller.
I'll just add that if you were in the other meeting, we are waiting. We just hired our new village administrator, not coming on board till June 22nd. We're still out a finance director. We're out a village engineer. We're getting really close, but I will tell you, these are key people to help guide us. And so we'll look forward to those additions and making really good economic choices.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
From a timeline standpoint, the proposal is for January 1, 2027.
As it sits right now, yes.
Okay, so from a Washington County board approval, when would that take place?
August.
Okay, so it's happening really quick. So further discussions, questions, comments? Harry?
They've been a part of this whole conversation this whole time.
Okay, who isn't so far? Was there a map in there? I shouldn't probably be asking you.
No map.
Okay, nobody?
Oh, we don't have anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when will we get numbers?
I don't know.
I hope to have some relatively soon.
If you're planning on August?
Yeah, once I get them, I will share with the board. But of all the towns and villages that are part of this group, there was a lot of pushback to begin. But once you start peeling the layers of the onion back, there was an epiphany and there was an eye-opening that, yes, this is something that we need to be very serious about. So I can't speak for the group, but based on my observations, no one is pushing back. They're pushing back in terms of about this, about this, about that. But from a broad 30,000-foot level, there's alignment in terms of this is the right path to go down. Am I accurate in that?
Yes, sir.
Further discussion?
Is, just a quick question, is this the year that you're working on your budget?
No, ma'am. This is our
Okay,
off
this
year.
is off.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
thanks.
John, would you like to say anything before we wrap up? Thank you, Dave.
Yeah, I would just like to reiterate what Dave said. For the most part, everything is looking really good and coming along nicely. Obviously, there are still some questions that need to be answered and some maybe some more thought that needs to get put into some things and how it relates to some of the smaller departments and some of the bigger departments. But otherwise, it's looking like it's gonna provide the funding that we need for the future.
And you're not at all concerned about local control?
Not from what I've seen so far.
Okay, great. Any questions for Chief? Okay, thank you very much. Well, we are at the end of our agenda and absent further discussion, we are adjourned at 9:36 p.m. Thank you all for coming tonight and please drive home safe.